Genshin news wise, I kind of clocked this by accident while I was thinking about some stuff, and I realized that every single character in this lineup has the same goddamn element. I don't know how I didn't click in, but I think it was when I was looking at Aoife and I was like, oh, Aoife's Animo, and I was looking at all the characters and I was like, wait a minute. What's going on? And honestly, I think the biggest piss off is that Yonson and Dahlia aren't switched. Like, don't piss me off with that. Now, listen, I've heard leaks of people being like, oh, Dahlia's Hydro. I'm gonna say number one. We never get 4-star Hydro characters. When's the last time we've gotten one? That's my number one. But number two, the reason why I think Dahlia's Cryo is because if there is this new Frost meta coming in, I think they're going to try to create characters to support that before they drop Skirk. So that people feel like they can pull Skirk confidently, if that makes sense. Like, I think Effie and this and Dahlia are going to both be like good units to work with Skirk. So you're not pulling Skirk being like, okay, I'll get Skirk, but there's nothing really that works with her right now beyond maybe one character or two. So I think they're trying to like set it up so that people feel like comfortable pulling Skirk early, like instead of waiting for a rerun. Number one. Number two, he's also like besties with Rosaria, who is cryo as fuck. And I don't know, but like looking at their original design, it is not, in my opinion, giving Hydro. Like, to be fair, it's not really giving Cryo either, but I feel like Cryo is way more believable than like Hydro. I mean, to be fair, it could have changed since then, but the original version is definitely... I feel like this gives more Cryo energy than it does Hydro. Because it's like a similar color palette to Rosaria a bit. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion on it. I just cannot see this being Hydro. But again, he could have changed, right? It's been a really long time since this design. And we already know that the cape most likely has changed. So we'll see. Personally, I wanted him to be like Pyro. Specifically Arlecchino's kind of Pyro. I thought that would have been sick. And done like a cute like bat dark red theme. But I digress. This game do be mid sometimes. Anyways, and it got me thinking, like, they have two of each element, if this is correct in Dahlia's Cryo, and same with Effie. And then Skirk's in the middle. And also, like, it's all 4 stars and all 5 stars. And I'm sorry, but the Aoife and Dahlia means who are coping, you need to stop. Like, Aoife's design is not a 5-star design. And neither was Dahlia's original version. Like, they're definitely 4 stars. No, I understand people want 5-star males, but like, girl, they are 4-star characters. I would literally bet money on it. Chaska's Animo and a 5-star in the same tribe. Oh, and you don't think that they'll like do like 2 from the same tribe with the same like rarity and thing? Maybe. I don't know if that's like, I don't know if they care that much, or if that's a reason. We'll never really know that. Anyways, I think it was very purposeful, though. Like, genuinely. When they were creating this cast of characters to release, like, at the end of Natlan, there's no way that, like, if this does end up being true, where it's, like, 2 Animo, 2 Electro, 2 Cryo, and a 4 and 5 of each, that wasn't purposeful. Like, there's coincidental, and then there's this. And then they're, like, directly sectioned away from each other like this. Like, come on. And again, Skirk being in the middle... Like, I'm sorry, but it just throws off the balance. If we make her a 5-star, hello? Now it's 3. Like, why is it 3 and 4? Like, it throws off the balance. 6-star. 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 Skirk. Why not? Why not? Honestly, I don't know. Has Hoyo ever done that in their games? I don't think they have. Have they ever added a rarity tier? I don't think they have. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, Star Rail, HI3. Like, I think they've always had, like, AS and, like, B, I guess, or whatever. Where can I put an image for Stefan to react to? In the reacts in the Discord server. Thank you, Moon! Aloy's still a 5-star, aren't they? Right? People think Dahlia's 5.8. I don't because 5.8 is technically over 6 months. That's why. For this to be true within the 6-month period, that only goes up to 5.7. Everything after 5.7 is beyond 6 months. Did you know that Inazuma Vision case has 3 circles? I did know that, but I didn't clock it. Thank you for adding to the moon lore that I'm already going crazy over. Speaking of moon lore, 3 elements, chat. Why do they pick 3 elements? Going into Node Cry about the 3 moons. Now, remember, we already know one's a frost moon, so the cryo allegations. And the electro symbol is tied to A, who is also tied to the crimson moon. And I hope you guys know that the electro symbol is 3 moons as well. These little swirly things that make up the electro symbol are the 3 moon sisters. It's not like a Beyblade for a reason. It's literally the 3 moons inside the electro symbol. Everyone's like, oh, I didn't know that. I just thought it was a Beyblade. And the Anemo symbol does technically have 3 wings, right? Like, the 3 tiers of wings. You know what I realize, though, now, when I'm looking at the Anemo symbol, it reminds me of angels. Like, it reminds me of how they depict, like, Renova, Istaroth, like the wing, like the wing tiers, like how they show it. I think that's interesting. Now, some people have speculated that Anemo could be one of the moons, of course, and Columbina could be Anemo. So, I'm just saying. Now, do you guys want to hear my most cope-ass theory today? Actually, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it until I talk about the next part. We'll come back to this part. Let's talk about this, because I did some research into my delusions, and I came out with more tea and more reasons as to why frost could possibly be an element. Everybody and their mom has been like, Seven, they already released Skirk set and has cryo damage. Seven, you're delusional. You don't know anything. Please talk about Castoris, babes. The bitches are dying on the street. What's going on with Castoris? Why are bitches dying in the streets? What do you mean? Okay, Valley, put it in reacts, what I need to talk about, and then I will get back to you on that. I will check it after this. Anyways, everyone's been like, cryo, it's not, like, Skirk's not a new element, she's cryo, and, like, this is the new set, cryo damage 15%. When you have 0 energy, normal attacks are increased by 60, and elemental burst is increased by 60. After dealing one of these types of damage, the effects of the other one will stop applying for 6 seconds. So basically, you have normal attack damage for 60%, but then you'll have elemental burst damage for 60%. Like, you can't have both, right? Yeah. Like, if you deal a normal attack, you won't have elemental burst damage. And if you deal elemental burst damage, you won't have a normal attack buff. If that makes sense. Like, you get one and not the other. Cool. Glad we did that. So everyone's been saying this is exactly why Skirk can't be cryo. Let me introduce you the dumb fucking bitchery that is this community. This is the engine, I think that's what it's called, for Miyabi, who is Frost. Frost, not Ice. Frost in ZZZ. I literally looked this up. Her engine, this is her signature, like basically her signature weapon, has crit damage and ice damage increase by 20%. Not frost damage, ice damage. What does that mean? Ice damage applies to both ice units and frost units. So, if they did that in Genshin, the equivalent would mean that cryo damage would apply to both cryo characters and frost characters. Meaning this set could still be usable for Skirk and she could still be Frost. Now, to get into my crazy as fuck theory, what if we're all wrong? Or what if I'm half wrong and half right? What if she's a cryo? What if she's quantum? Because honestly, I am going to crash out like Spencer if she's Frost. I will say that. Like Spencer from TikTok, the one who's constantly screaming. You will catch me on TikTok creating a similar style of video the day Skirk comes out, and if they say she's Cryo or Frost. Because the fuck do you mean? The fuck do you mean when she literally is holding the quantum symbol in her goddamn hand? Like, was this just fun and games? Were we just playing fucking games here? Genuinely, were we just playing fucking games? Now let Sip cook. Let Sip fucking cook. Get ready for a 5-star ass meal right now. Is this a game to you? No, for real. For real. Let me cook. Grab a plate. Grab a plate because I'm about to put a hefty amount of mac and cheese on your plate and it's going to be fucking delicious. Girls, gays, theys, all of y'all. What if these 3 symbols are related to 3 moons? And what if the moons are related to the element of quantum? And what if Skirk is quantum? And what if it means then that quantum energy is the like ancient root of the energy of only Animo, Electro, and Cryo? And what if quantum characters can theoretically use any percent damage of the 3? Like Animo, Electro, and Cryo damage all equally apply into a quantum unit. Because now remember this chat. Remember this. Let me keep cooking. Electro looks like quantum, right? We can all agree. Like when we saw quantum, we're like, oh, it's kind of electro-y. But also the shards of glass are kind of like ice. And then quantum is all about time. In every Hoyo game, quantum is time. And what is quantum directly connected to with time? Animo! Like, I actually think there might be, like, this is the triple connection. And I think this. We're gonna get quantum now. And I think there will be, like, imaginary connected to the other elements somehow. So, like, I don't know what... I'm assuming Geo. And I'm assuming Dendro. What's left? There's Hydro and Pyro. Interesting. The only thing that, like, has me not thinking Pyro's connected is because Pyro's connected to, like, the Crimson Moon. And that's another thing. This is where this thing start not making sense. There is still Pyro with Crimson Moon, and Pyro is not here in front of us, right? Like, we're seeing Animo, we're seeing Electro, we're seeing Cryo, which all have a reason to be connected to the moons. Like, don't get me wrong. And Quantum as an idea. But Pyro is also connected to a moon. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's an interesting thought. We're obviously not going to know until, like, 3 months from now? But, again, like, I'm sorry, but I genuinely think if they just release Skirk as Cryo, no bells, no whistles, and she has some fuck-ass Bond of Life thing. Like, I'm not saying she is Bond of Life. I'm saying they make some new weird thing like Bond of Life for her. And that's her, like, ability power. I genuinely think everyone would be pissed off. And this would be very, like, this would be a misdirection, but, like, in a misleading way. Like, genuinely, they know what the symbol of quantum looks like. They know what people are gonna think when they put this kind of scene in the game too. And they know that people have been asking about quantum and Genshin for like ever because it's existed in their other games. I just feel like that is like a little bit scummy. Like, I feel like the company should do its best to avoid misdirecting people. And whether people want to be like, well, you are jumping to conclusions and setting yourself up for failure, girl, if they put the conclusion in front of you, you're going to conclude. Especially since, like, Skirk's not from this world. They use a power. Like, how do they, I'm sorry, but how do you explain Mavika saying they use a power not from the seven elements and then she's cryo? Like, how do you explain that? I feel like everyone would be like, that doesn't make any sense, though. Also, Oop Who Frozen, thank you for the follow. So, I don't know. That's just my thoughts and opinions. Oop. And, yeah. Also, a lot of people don't like the name Frosto. I've only been calling it Frosto because Frost and then the whole cryo, pyro, dendro, geo, like everything ends in O in Genshin. That's why I've been calling it Frosto. I don't think Genshin's going to call it Frosto. I think Frosto is an ugly, like, kind of name too. I've just been using that for clarity purposes. I asked people to vote. Everyone voted Glacio. Like, I don't think Hoyo has the balls to call it Glacio, personally. I feel like the Wua people would lose their minds. They've came at Genshin for less. Something narratively is going to have to happen with Skirk's return to the surface. She's been in the Abyss for God only knows how long, and maybe when she returns to Tevat, they're just going to give her one of the assigned elements for the world. Like, is she going to get some fuck-ass vision? No worries. You know what, though? I feel like this is going to be a disappointment on an even bigger level than Wanderer, for at least me. Like, with Wanderer, I was so mad. I was like, Animo, you've got to be joking. Like, we all were under the Electro idea for, like, years, because literally he was. And then they just, like, out of nowhere were like, fuck this, he's an Animo. And I'm like, okay. If they literally bring Skirk to the surface and give her some dumbass story where she gets a vision and it's cryo, I'm gonna be like, I'm never getting hyped for anything ever again. Like, that's how I'm gonna feel. I feel like I'm literally, like, that is the last expectation that I've had. I had, like, zero expectations going into Natlan because I was like, I don't want to let myself down. But that will truly be the time where I'm like, I'm done having expectations for this game, because every time I do, even my bare minimums are, like, never realized. Also, Sam, thank you for the follow. I personally feel like it's a good idea for them to bring a new element, or at least elemental variants, because genuinely, the game is getting stale. Dendro brought it some life for a little bit. Like, it was so fun to experiment with Dendro, but, like, the game gets stale when they don't do anything to, like, mix it up. Like, I'm happy that they're going back to, like, unused reactions like Overload and stuff, because that has been, like, fun. Even though, like, Overload, you're mainly playing it for, like, the res down and damage. Like, you're not actually playing it for the reaction like you play Bloom. If that makes sense? And that's why I want them to, like, give us something else to cook with, because I'm bored. Like, girl, I've been eating the same goddamn Farina mac and cheese for 2 years now. And I love Farina, but I need something else.